Keepin It Real with Rudi Lickwood, the topical interactive chat show where you may end up being one of the guests every Monday night, 8:30 p.m, tackling the week's major issues with special guests and you, the audience. Comedy with Rudi Lickwood. This event is brought to you by Comedy Hotspot. Don't forget, Keepin It Real with Rudi Lickwood. This is an 18 certificate only.
Boom! I'm live. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I never thought I would actually see the day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rudi Lickwood. I'm your host, and you're here with me live, keeping it real, keeping it real. In other words, we're going to be looking at topical news. What's been going on? What's people been saying? What they ain't been saying? That's what I want to know. What the fuck have they not been saying? That's what I want to know. Here's an opportunity where I normally do an early morning rant, Monday to Friday, bright and early, 8:15. And my little rants lead to me getting into conversations with a lot of people, more people than I ever knew I knew. And it's wonderful. And it's led to me having this opportunity now. Look at that. There's Joe. How you doing, Joe? It's led to me having this opportunity now to stretch out the information that we've dug up throughout the week. I'm going to have special guests. I'm going to have people who's going to be joining me, people who's been helping me move along the way. People who've got me to where I am today. Rudi, what you're saying, man? Rudi. I think it's only important that I introduce my first guest. This guy, I owe him so much, man. I owe this brother so much. You'll be surprised to know who he actually is. I did a show at the Hackney Empire where they were looking for new acts. And this gentleman told me that he said, "Hey, young man, black man, come here." He goes, "You got potential, you know, you got potential. I reckon what you need in order to move your career ahead is you need an agent. You need an agent." So before I bring him on, right? Before I bring him on, I think we should have a little look at something like this. Let's have a look before I bring him on. Bung it on, Jim. Bung it on. The first one. Give it a clip. Give it a clip, mister.
We vote him away. Vote him away, 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 vote him away. In the White House, the mighty White House, the liar tweets tonight. In the West Wing, the self-obsessed wing, the liar tweets tonight.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the liar tweets tonight. But joining me tonight is a really, really good friend of mine. Give him a nice round of applause. I know you're sitting at home. Give him a nice round of applause. Mr. John Mann.
Hey. Yeah, see, I crave applause. You know, on Thursdays when people go out into the streets to applause, I'm out there just wishing it was a gig.
Are you dying for a gig, John?
Yes, I am. Even though I've sort of backed off of gigging and only gig half a dozen a month at the most, I really miss it, yeah.
Because the thing is that you've been really and truly, you've been one of the pillars of the alternative comedy scene, and you date. I mean, I don't want to put age on you. Do you know what I mean? But you go way back. You go way back. You go way back to when Phil Jupiter was but a little boy. Eh?
Yes. I've known Phil since before either of us did stand up. So.
Is it? You knew him before that?
Yeah, because I was a sound engineer before I was a comic, and I was working with Red Wedge, who were the Labour Party movement, who basically opposed the Tories and all the things that they stood for at the time. And Phil was working at Go Discs, who looked after Billy Bragg and the House Martins. So we bumped into each other a lot.
Because Phil was actually a poet as well, wasn't he? He was a bit of a
Porky
poet,
the poet. Right? Yeah.
That's how I remember he was known, and it was his Star Wars routine. I remember that really made him. Do you remember when he used to do that Star Wars routine?
He did the tour Ready, Jedi, Go.
Yeah.
Which I was support on. I did the support on that tour.
I mean, how many other people did you actually support along the way? You supported quite a few,
I
didn't you?
toured. I did Lenny Henry when he did the Australian show. He used me as a support for the England gigs, but the English gigs were all in little art centres holding like 100 people, so he could learn the set, which was amazing. I've toured with quite a few.
Yeah, because I mean, this is what I'm saying. It's like there's a lot of comedians out there who've been doing like massive gigs, but nobody actually sees them on TV.
No,
Do you know what I mean? I mean,
no.
when I remember when I did my my show at the Hackney Empire, and Ben Miller was there. Don't know if you remember Ben Miller, and he went on
Armstrong
to
and Miller, yeah,
went on to do Lost in Paradise.
yeah.
And I ended up going off and doing the Real McCoy, and I also ended up doing the warm ups for Goodness Gracious Me. You know,
So what year was you new act? Was that 91, 90?
around 91, 92, isn't it?
91's the year Tonkinson won it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I came after Tonks.
Right, okay, so it'd been 92 or 3 then.
Yeah, I came
That'd
after.
be about right if I introduced you to Dudridge, because Dudridge was around in 93. So
Yeah, that's when you introduced me to Dudge's. And that's when you look like this. Let's have a quick look at him. Let's have a quick look at the young lad.
oh, you see, look at me.
Oh, look at you there, man.
In me Credit to the Nation shirt. Now, Credit to the Nation were brilliant. Do you remember them? The MC Fusion. He was very good young boy. And they ended up not doing too well on the hip hop sort of mainstream because Fusion was massively criticised because he didn't like the sexism and violence that like people like Ice-T did. So he was sort of pushed out. But then at that time, you looked a little bit younger yourself. Look.
Yeah, look at me. Look, I've actually got a head of hair. Damn.
Was that not long after you was doing the lookalike work? Because I remember that.
Yeah, because I actually got into the whole scene as Eddie Murphy lookalike, didn't I? I wasn't
really good money as well.
It was fantastic money. It was actually better money than the stand-up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can believe it.
It was better money than the stand-up. I mean, they used to dress me up as Eddie Murphy. At that time, we had shops like Our Price, right? And what Our Price used to do was they used to get me a limousine. They used to get me the girls. Yeah, they used to bundle me into these shops. Yeah, so when he came out with like Trading Places and stuff like that, yeah, they would have me in the back. Yeah, and people would just come along and take pictures of me. And yeah, I know, because the thing is, they thought all black people look alike, innit?
Well, I showed my daughter that picture last night, and she couldn't believe it wasn't Eddie Murphy. Okay, well, Eddie ain't got a gold tooth though. That's the thing. No. Have you got one in that photo, or is that new? I've got. You know what? I've got. I do have photos of me as a Eddie Murphy lookalike, which I will put up in the near future. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'll put them up in the near future where people can actually see me surrounded like a bunch of kids out in Finland and Holland and Japan. You know, it was quite an experience. I mean, it all started off by accident. I was working in the Waverley Hotel in Holborn, and Art Blakey walked in. He was a jazz musician. He used to have these big bloody fucking lips. His cheeks used to puff out when he used to blow the horn. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's into music will know who he is. Yeah, and he told me about Eddie Murphy, and I didn't know who Eddie Murphy was because he was doing Saturday Night Live at the time. And he hadn't released Trading Places, but I went to my cousin's house that weekend, I remember, and the next door neighbors, they had a copy of Delirious. And it was on seeing Delirious for the first time ever, I laughed for a complete hour. So is this very late 80s? Very, very late. That was very late. I mean, I didn't even know that I was going to gravitate towards comedy, to be honest with you. No. You know, I used to sit down and watch the good old days, the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Club. Right. You remember the comedians? Yeah. Yeah. This is the days when we used to laugh at Bernard Manning, believe it or not. Yeah. You know, you know, and the only other black comic around that time was Charlie Williams. Yeah. Who actually just didn't. I mean, his material was. Well, it was borderline racist at the time. It was all racist, man. It was all racist, funny shit. It was funny shit at the time because even when we had like programs like Love Thy Neighbor, right? Yeah. The beauty of Love Thy Neighbor for a lot of black people was that I've forgotten his bloody name. He was in EastEnders.
The Taverniers. Oh my God, everyone's gonna cuss me, man. People, tell me the name of the black character who plays in EastEnders. Oh my God.
Yes, I know who you mean.
Yeah,
I'm rubbish with names.
yeah, and he was giving as good as he used to get. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like it was almost like it was banter in a way. And back in those days, we used to accept it as banter. Do you know what I mean?
That's what half the problem was, though, people just accepting it as banter, because banter became the norm in the playground. And then,
yeah,
you know, and actually, when you're 10, banter's bullying. You know, when you're grown up, you can go at banter and turn away from it.
Yeah, but now it's cyberbullying, isn't it? Now the kids are so fucking weak. It's all cyberbullying. Now they can get you without you even being in your house, now without you even being in the playground. But I mean, back then, that was just how it was, man. And we accepted it for what it was.
Yeah.
You know? And I think the sheer fact that alternative comedy did come along, and there was no sexism, no racism. Do you get me? You write your own material, all that kind of stuff kicked in, and it took the scene, it took the whole scene to another place. And I think that's when I myself began to become a little bit more politicized. In the content and the material that I wanted to present, because one of the first gigs that I did was down at your place in Harlow, if I'm right.
Yes, yeah, the square now sadly bulldozed.
That's gone, yeah.
So yeah,
no
it got
there.
bulldozed. Well, it's been shut a few years, but it's bulldozed now. But they're still not building on the site.
Okay, because who were the comedians who were passing through at that point in time?
You can pretty much name a comic, you know. I mean, you know, from the top.
Yeah,
obviously Eddie Izzard did it a lot. Bill Bailey did it.
Yeah,
pretty Jack D did it. Bob Mills did it. Every single week was just the top names. Joe Brand did it a lot. You can't name a big comic from the sort of 1990 to 1996 that didn't do the square. Just everybody did it. It was because it paid proper money. It was a proper room with a proper audience that faced the right way. It was just a great gig to do. And it was a Thursday.
Yeah, that was the other thing, innit? It was a Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, because I remember having to drive down there. Do you know? Heading down, was it the M11? I used to have to head down.
And the M11, yeah,
to get to you. And I think you kind of like showed me that you didn't feel like a gatekeeper to me. You didn't feel like I don't know what it was that you kind of liked about what I was saying or whatever. Or I didn't feel like I was a token, basically.
No, not at all. And I think the thing is with the square, particularly at the time, is the audience. I mean, it was 150 in the audience every show, but at least 100 of them went to nearly every single week. So the audience just knew what to expect. The audience were warmed up within minutes of you going on. The audience were just up for it all the time. And the audience, they knew comedy. And I think audiences that know comedy understand comedy, and as an actor, you end up enjoying it more. So all the acts relaxed into it within seconds of going on stage.
And that's what I love.
Perfect room.
That's what I love, because I found that I was able to. I felt like I was the Black British comic. I actually felt. I didn't feel a sense of like I had to be like an American comedian. I could talk about the things that was happening around us today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I found that people related, which was quite surprising. Because
Felix, God rest his soul, it was one of his favourite rooms. He loved it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Felix was everywhere I went, I saw his photograph.
yeah. But I think the thing is,
I could go all the way to Perth. Yeah, I can go all the way into Wales. Yeah, I can go into Ireland, right? Because when we used to play Belfast, right, and Felix picture would be there. It was like everywhere I went.
I remember one Saturday night, everyone went to the Comedy Cafe, and then after the Comedy Cafe, we went to somebody's house in Crouch End, and I left about 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, and I was just walking up to get my car, and I saw Felix walking down the hill, dapper, like really dressed gorgeously. I went, all right, Felix, are you just on your way back from a gig? He said, no, I'm going to go and buy a newspaper. It's just beautiful. He just, he just dressed up better than anything just to go and buy a paper.
Felix used to always wear proper clothing, bruv. proper clothing. That was the other thing
Yeah.
that I liked about our circuit, was that you can come and dress as much as well as you want to, you know. But I wanted to talk about the your meme. You've got that meme out there that's hit. It's done something like 4.2 views, if I'm right.
Yes, 4,500 views. Now, there's a little thing you can get that shows you how many people have seen it. And just over 1 million people have seen it, which is weird, really, because it's just something I knocked out in the morning. Just one morning, I was just sitting there bored, and it occurred to me that's quite funny. So I made it. And I've only ever made 5 memes in my life, and this was the second one I'd ever done. And I think the thing is that people just got it straight away, because it's that Dad's Army, that pay attention, men. And the whole point of the government's argument at the time was that we'll send the little kids back. And then it was the age of the kids they were sending back. It's not even as if they were sending back older students and mature students.
But I think
could understand it.
What I like is that you've actually hit the temperature of the nation, of our nation. Do you know what I mean?
People were outraged.
Yeah.
Properly outraged. And you could tell that by the number of councils that immediately said, no, our kids aren't going back. You know, like Liverpool did it first, then Manchester did it. Quite a lot of London boroughs did it. They did it around here. They did it in Essex. Loads of councils went, no, if as a school you can ignore the government's guidelines and regulations because we're not sticking to it. It's disgusting.
Well, you're gonna ignore them, because when you got people like Boris Johnson telling the biggest lies on the planet. I mean, one of his what was it like? One of his lines was
his biggest lie was I've not told a lie since I've been in politics. It's just, you know, there we go.
Hey,
yeah. And the thing is as well is when politicians say, like, I mean, Trump's the worst at it, obviously, but when he said that, there's actually no reason for him saying it. If he should have just said, he said it randomly. So for him to randomly say, I've not told a lie since I've been in politics, when people absolutely know for a fact he has, it's just strange.
Yes, it is.
Rudolph
but then
Walker.
That's the brother.
Yeah.
But then that's typical of our government. That's typical of our government. Do you know what I mean? Constantly lying to us. You know, constantly telling us the bullshit. You know, and this show will actually give me an opportunity to air certain views when it comes to that, as well as finding out what people at home think. But for now, John, right? I just want to do a quick section with listeners at home. All right.
Yeah, cool. Can I just tell Colin Mayhew that if he has a look online, Phil is gigging as Porky in the next couple of next year. I will send him later a link to where he's doing.
Okay. We'll do that. Do that. But I'll be back with you in a minute, John. I'll be back with you in a minute. I want to talk to the listeners. I want to talk to you guys at home. I want to set up something for you guys, right? I want you to send in some sketches to me. Right, I want you to send in some sketches to me, and the sketch has got to be about, did you know something? All right. So, did you know? And you do your little sketch to out to us what it is you want us to know. So, here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Did you know that hypertension and heart disease kill more blacks than anything else in America?
I didn't know that. I thought it was the police.
Hey! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, because I'm not here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not here to I guess to be a distraction to you. Yeah, I don't want the comedy to be a distraction. I want the comedy to actually be more in your face. I want us to really get into the subject matter of things and what's going on. And I've got another guest I'd like to join with us. This is a young lady that goes on Facebook Live. She goes on Facebook Lives and she speaks her mind. She's a black sister that all white women want to be like. Okay, she's thunder, she's lightning, she got a mouth like a, what's she got a mouth like? I would say Scotch bonnet pepper when she's ready. So please put your hands together and welcome Shazzy Berry Mary. How you doing, Shazzy?
Good evening, guys.
Good evening. How are you? How we're good.
I'm fabulous. One day.
You look fabulous. I'm not gonna lie. I like them earrings. But So Shazzy, I know you've been keeping up with what's been going on. What with the George Floyd incident that's taken place in America. But before we get to that, only yesterday, Edward Colson down. Yeah. And I think we've got a clip of that. I'm sure we've got a clip of that. It'd be nice if we could see that clip. And I'd like to hear your views on it. I'd like to hear your views on this.
Okay.
Come on, let's get that clip up. I love this clip. No, the clip did not go up. Edward Colson was, in actual fact, he was a slave owner. This guy, he basically brought slaves to the UK. Okay,
H4,000.
H4,000.
84,000 men.
84,000.
84,000.
Plus.
84,000.
Plus.
That's how.
Yeah.
Plus that he brought over.
Plus all the ones that died on the journey.
So that was all part of the triangle, isn't it? That was all part of the triangle: the West Indies, Britain, and America. What I found quite surprising, believe it or not, is that the mayor of Bristol is Jamaican. Yeah. Now, I mean, as a Jamaican mayor, I would have thought in the first 2 weeks, yeah, pull down that statue, man. Yeah, pull it down. Yeah. But you know, because he's playing the political game and he wants to keep his job. Do you know what I mean? He's waited for the people then to decide to pull it down. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Shazzy?
Well, yeah. I think that we've accepted things for too long. Now is the time for an uprising in saying how we really feel about these things, because it is a great insult that this statue has been up there since the 1800s and we're in the 21st century and that's when it's come down. Now he represents the torture that we went through as Black people. Yeah, we went through 400 years of it. Yeah, and it's still going on today. So at some point, these statues that are around, we need to be shown some respect as a people. We've been through enough. When are they gonna give us the respect that we deserve? Our parents came here and helped build.
They're looking for milk and honey, innit?
Right.
They were looking for milk and honey and gold that was not on the pavement. Do you know what I mean? All they found was outside toilets and subtle racism. That was all they found.
Right, exactly. And my dad came here, and he came as a young man in his 30s, and the things that he endured as a 35-year-old man, when he bought his property, his only property, he bought it. He went through racism because the first place my dad viewed was in Acton.
Okay.
And the neighbor who was going to sell my dad the house said, you know what? I really want to sell you the house, but the neighbors have already told me that if I sell it to a Black man, I'm going to make his life hell. So we've endured enough. This statue should have been brought down a long time ago, not yesterday. Do you understand?
Well,
however, the generation that is coming up
they're not putting up with the bullshit. Yeah, they ain't putting up with the bullshit
because they're more multicultural. They're more. Although there wasn't a lot of people of my color, they're bringing it down. But the generation that we have thought about are more multicultural. They're more sticking together. and see the injustice that is done onto our black people, and they're not having it at all. So you know what? Good for them.
That's because it's nice to. That's because it's nice to see that the responsibility is no longer just on black people to turn around and say, do you know we're being oppressed by this hidden hand that we can't see, which is institutional racism. Now we've got young white kids, we've got young black kids who are actually doing something about it. And to me, it was almost a slap in the face to all the London black youth, the ones who were causing all the problems yesterday in Trafalgar Square, that we had to step outside the M25, right, in order for the youth them outside the M25 to show us what riots are about and how you can create change, without having to go around kicking up the police, when these police officers in the UK, I'm gonna keep it real now. The police in the officers in the UK weren't causing the disturbance. You know, they were allowing the protests.
They know the situation is a delicate situation, so they provoke them, and we know that the children, our children, don't put up with what we've put up with. They're very mouthy, and they will give you the chat, and they will give you the chat, and they will tell you, "Bring it, then bring it." That's our kids. Yeah, but I've found that the kids generally around the world have got a different approach to the whole. Who says that? Boris claims the UK is not racist. Come on, man. If you think Boris Johnson is, if you think Boris Johnson, right, claims that the UK is not racist, let's look at this Tommy Robinson clip. We've got a tip here, clip by Tommy Robinson. Let's have a look at that clip. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up.
Piers Morgan, any celebrity who has supported this bullshit, those 27 injured police officers, it's on your hands. This protest today, you know, Anthony Joshua, you got anything to say about this shit? Hey? You got anything to say about what they've done to Churchill's statue? Or you think he's a racist as well, do ya? Hey? What about Little Mix? You were there, weren't ya? Hey? Will you support the defacing of our Churchill statue, do ya? Every one of you fucking celebrities. All jumping on your little virtue signalling bandwagon. Bullshit!
Bullshit! Lula! It's you lot! That's what it is! Yeah, he sounds like Mr. Manning. And the thing is, he's calling out Anthony Joshua, you know. The brother's calling out Anthony Joshua. You know what? I don't even reckon we would need Anthony Joshua to deal with the match. Just let Little Mix deal with him. Let Little Mix just deal with him. Then we'll stomp all over him with their heels, man. I would just let Little Mix just mad up the boy. Am I idiot? That boy's an idiot.
I wouldn't let all of them. I'd just let Jessie do it on her own.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that I don't like the double standard thing. I really don't like the double standard thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because the reason why we had reason for taking down that statue. That's what a protest is about. That's what a protest is about. I mean, I remember when we went into Baghdad, right? We went into Baghdad and we took down Saddam Hussein's statue. Do you remember that? Yeah? And all the British people were like, yeah! You know, because they wanted to see the change. And then all the Iraqis came out with their sandals and they started slapping it on the head. Pat, 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 pat. You know, it was like one of the biggest insults you could have ever have done to
the sandal thing, yeah.
Was the sandals, isn't it?
Sandals is massively insulting, yeah. That's worse than dropping a C-bomb on them. It's horrible. They hate the sand, you know. That's a proper insult.
So Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson is deciding that he's gonna gather his people and he's gonna come down this weekend, I believe. So let's look out for him. Let's watch out for him. And the moment he comes, I just want everybody to turn on them because they always disrupt.
No doubt that will happen. That will happen. The young people are not having that. Whereas like our parents and some of our age group would just stay back and we shall overcome. That ain't happening no more.
That's why I'm saying that
ain't happening no more.
That is why I'm saying that
Amazing Grace ain't happening.
No, Amazing Grace.
We ain't singing that no more.
I can't sing that song, Amazing Grace. I can't sing it because he was a slave owner as well. The brother who sang the Rose. He wrote it, he sang it, and the thing is that as black people, we go around singing that tune at funerals. I can't sing it, but my thing is that the youth them round the world are different. I'm noticed that they're around the world. I mean, it was President Trump who said, when the looting starts,
The shooting.
the shooting starts. Yeah. And here's a placard that I saw a youth carrying, right? Put up the placard for me, Jim, please. Put it up. Right. This was the youth's response. We are not our ancestors. We will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will fuck you up.
Yeah. We're not going to lay down.
No. They ain't. And it's a totally different ball game nowadays, because it's not a case of us like walking around with a chip on our shoulder. People can actually see. Yeah, this guy was held down for 9 minutes. Yeah, they had their knee on his throat. Yeah, and all that Trump could say, as opposed to saying, right, we're gonna deal with this. Yeah, we're gonna charge this guy for murder. All right. Also, the officers that were involved. Now, what does he decide to do? What does he decide to do? He comes out with this inflammatory statement. In fact, there's a clip there's another clip I want to play. Here's a clip. I love this clip. I'm sure that it's been floating around at the yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Pop. That's sweet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You need to WhatsApp that one to me, yeah?
Is it that one's all over my page, man. That one is all over my page.
Steal it from you.
You know? Because this is what I like about the early morning rants. I get people sending me loads and loads of clips that we use in the morning and we talk about. And it kind of like pushes the conversation along. It gives me a good idea of what people are thinking and what they are saying. And I ask you guys to continue doing that, continue linking up with me in the morning. It will help this show in the evening. But I am now starting to get really, how can I put it, man? I'm seeing a lot of deaths. I'm seeing a lot of deaths, man. You know, and with COVID as well, it's made it hard. You know, it's really made it hard. I mean, the moment the COVID thing stepped in, it was like toilet paper went through the roof. Do you know what I mean? I was beginning to wonder if people at home were eating toilet paper. Do you know what I mean? What were they barbecuing the toilet paper? What were they stewing the toilet paper? What were they doing, man? How many times do you need to wipe your batty? That's what I want to know. You know?
Did you see that bloke that tried to take 600 toilet rolls back to Tesco? And Tesco said, no, you keep them.
He actually tried to take it back.
Yeah, he went out and he brought, at the beginning of it all, he just bought so many toilet rolls, then realised actually a month, 2 weeks later, you can buy them everywhere.
But where did they get that concept from? Where did that come from?
That came from what happened in Australia. There was a genuine shortage of toilet rolls because the factory that produces them for part of Australia caught fire. So there was going to be a shortage of toilet rolls in Australia for maybe a fortnight. But people over here saw that, linked it with COVID, and went out and panic bought. Yeah. I used to write a column in a newspaper in Hertfordshire, and 1 month on this column, I just wrote this thing about there's going to be a shortage of peas, just for a laugh. And Sainsbury's and Bishop Stortford sold out of peas. Old people went out and bought all the peas. They read my column, thought there was going to be a shortage of peas, and went out and bought them all. I introduced a pea shortage. Yeah, because people believe what they read. They go, well, no, my God, there's going to be a shortage of peas. I better buy a year's supply of peas. I think I buy a bag of peas a month. I don't need 30 bags of peas.
That kind of reminds me of when you used to talk about Neil Armstrong and the things that he could have sold.
Yeah, Chicken Tonight.
Yeah.
I forgot about
I remember that. Yeah. Remember you used to tell us that when Neil Armstrong,
a small step for man, giant leap for mankind. Most famous thing ever said. He could have made a fortune if he'd stepped on the moon and said, "I feel like chicken tonight." Done the little dance around the moon in slow motion.
That would have been
given the lack of atmosphere on the moon.
That would have been so funny. But the thing is that COVID it seems to be coming towards an end.
Well, today they said there were no deaths.
Well, is there's more deaths?
There's no
Is that
deaths
right?
today. There was no deaths of COVID on record today. That's what I heard on the news.
No, in Scotland and
Well,
Wales, and there's
mm,
no. What's happened is that New Zealand have completely got rid of it.
Where?
is it?
It's totally gone in New Zealand.
Because they're talking about people ain't going to receive no furlough money till August. That's what they're saying now. You know, because I received some furlough in June. Yeah, then I hear today that there ain't going to be no furlough until August. People are going to want to get back to work now, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are.
I want
People are actually going to want to get back to work, and the thing is whether or not now is a safe time for us actually to be sending our kids back to school. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite concerned, to be honest with you, with what the kids are going to have to put up with just to get through the front gate. I mean, I've got a clip, I've got an image that I want to show, if Jim could put it up for me, of what our kids are going to be looking at when they try to get through the school gate. If we haven't got the clip, that's fine. But it would have been good to see that. But I mean, what do you think?
I can tell you what it was. Basically, it was two teachers wearing full protective gear with face masks and face coverings and visors, taking a temperature check of a little kid as he went into preschool, like a 6-year-old.
Can you imagine how scary that is?
That's the whole point. It's a miss. Why are you dressing like that? And I'm sure that 4 minutes later, the kid was in school and they all took their gear off and it was fine. But that's the world we're going to be in for the moment, which is why I genuinely believe that if anyone went back to school at all, it should be the year 11 kids that got their GCSEs, the year 13s that have got their A levels, and the last year students, the university students, ones that are old enough and mature enough to understand what the whole social distancing means and get on with their lessons. You can't tell.
Well, I mean,
15, 6-year-olds to stay in a room and not go near each other.
Well, Susan's concerned about what if there's a second wave? What if there's likely to be a second wave of this?
Yeah.
I think they will be. I believe they will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I don't see how they wouldn't be. Because the information that we were given was too contradictory. Don't go to school, go to school. Don't go to work, don't go to work. Don't take London transport, but go to work. Walk if you have to, but don't go on the train. Do you understand? Then,
no, madness. It's true madness.
Yeah, on the 1st of June, children go back to school. Shops were opening. Social distancing was told, we were told, keep social distancing, but go to the park for more than an hour now. So the social distancing was my road last week. It was like a carnival. The sun was hot. People have been in their house for 3 months. And then on top of that, you're telling me that I can't go and get my sinting when I'm ready. Yeah.
That's for all those people who don't have partners, whose partners are don't live in the same household. Me and you are all right in it, John. You got wifey in it. You got wifey in it, John.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, but the thing is, have you been making love with a mask on? You know, social distancing and all the safe.
we got an enormous bed. So
I'm feeling sorry for all them man them and all them sisters who can't get their things. You know what I mean? Because of the social distancing.
So them there.
But then people completely ignore social distancing when it suits them. In front of me now is a window. Just over there is a window. If I walked over there and looked out the window, I could see the beach. On the sunny days 2 weeks ago, that beach was packed with people not giving a shit. No. Today, it's a bit cold and back to normal, and there's just the people who live around here walking on the beach.
Right.
No, but you can't really blame them, man, because how can you on one level say that we got to have this 2 meters apart? Yeah, you're queuing up to get into Iceland. Yeah, you're 2 meters apart, and then you go into Iceland, or you go into Asda, you go into Sainsbury's, and then you're brushing shoulders with these people.
Yeah,
you're not allowed.
You're not allowed. Social distancing, get out my way! Get out my way! That's what I'm doing.
That's what I'm saying. And then,
social distancing.
And that's the same. That's the same thing with the bus. Do you know what I mean? You're not allowed no social distancing. It's like when you're sitting on the bus, everyone's got to cram up. You know. But the thing is, John and Shazzy, we've actually run out of time.
Oh, bless you.
We've actually run out of time. I think it really was quick. It just goes to show that when you've got something to say and you're moving along very passionately, that time just whoops, it just disappears. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, for all of those, I want to know if you can send me your sketches. Let's not forget your sketches. Okay. Don't forget your sketches. Yes. Did you know sketches? Yeah. See what you can come up with. See what you can send to Rudi Lickwood, right? And you can join me here. I won't tell you who I'll be with next week. That's going to be a bit of a surprise. All right. And obviously, we're going to have Shazzy back. She's going to be one of my regulars because, as you can see, she's got plenty to say and she hardly had a chance to get it out today.
Your guest next week better not be Tommy Robinson.
I think we should get hold of Tommy Robinson, like how we'll be down here. Yeah, I'm also be grab hold of him and shackle him and put him in the back of my shed. Put him in the back of my shed. Do you know what I mean? Put him next to. Put him. I'm gonna take him down to Brixton.
No, bring him down here.
No, I'll bring him to Peckham. I should bring him in Arlesden.
That's what I'm saying.
Bring him in Arlesden. Take him to one stop.
He's knocking there, right there. Just leave him at the lights.
Bring him and Liam Nielsen. You know what I mean? So anyway, yes.
Thank you, Rudi.
No, John. Thank you very much, man. You got my.
You're welcome, mate. I'll speak to you in a week.
Shazzy, thank you very much for being my first guest on my show. Obviously, I'm going to have you back without a doubt. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys go and have a good day. This is Rudi Lickwood, Keeping It Real. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Hit me in the mornings, Monday to Friday, 8:15.